All right, here we are for a quick review of the Verlion mods, what they refer to as their Daytona Heritage Racing. So this is a tribute watch or a Seiko mod of a Paul Newman Daytona from the mid to late 60s. And let me run down the stats of this. This is my first foray into the world of Seiko mods. And so this company, Verlion Mods, didn't really know anything about them before I purchased this. And from the research I did online, the reviews were pretty stellar. And I'll get a little more into my experience with purchasing this in a little bit. But here are the kind of stats. It is a 37 millimeter case diameter, and that's important to remember because this is a vintage watch, and they were just typically a lot smaller scale than some of the watches today. So this isn't one of those big chunky 43 45 millimeter watches. This is a more smaller format watch, so just remember that if you're going to purchase this, it's going to show up and it's going to be smaller than you think it is. Lug to lug, it's 46 millimeters. The case thickness is 12.5. The strap width or the lug width is 20 millimeters. It is a domed sapphire crystal, which I think is actually an upgrade from the original Rolex, because I think the original Rolex was actually plexiglass dome. I could be wrong on that. The stainless steel used is 904L stainless, and the movement is a Seiko VK63 hybrid movement. So it's got automatic for the cosmograph or the chronograph, and it's a battery quartz for the actual time. So it's a hybrid movement, very versatile. And yeah, let's get into it. So I purchased this last week, and it was delivered from Singapore, and I did pay for expedited shipping, but it was delivered in about 4 days, and that's pretty impressive. Their customer service was really good. I had to arrange for expedited delivery because I'm leaving on a trip in a couple days, and I wanted to make sure I got this before I left. And they were very responsive via email, especially considering, the 11-hour time difference. So, cheers to them for that. So the Newman Daytona is like my all-time favorite watch. It is so iconic, but I don't have $400,000 kicking around. So this is about as good as I'm going to do for a while. I just love the style of the watch. I love just the classic looks of it. And I love the story of it, of how it kind of came to prominence after Paul Newman's wife gave him one. And then he was kind of known for wearing that watch. And so that's why it was nicknamed the Paul Newman. So this is one of the versions of that watch. There were several, depending on the year it was produced, several different kind of color combinations. But this is what would be considered to have the Newman exotic face. And it has a black bezel, a screw-down crown, and just normal pushers. So that's very accurate. It is the most accurate representation of this watch I've seen of any mod company. So if you're looking for one that really goes for authenticity, I would highly recommend Verlion Mods. So let's see. I paid, I think it was like $350 for the watch. And then with expedited shipping and customs and all that stuff, I would say it probably came to right about $400. So let's take a look at it, and I'll give a size comparison to some other watches as well. So the box itself first, kind of cheap. I was a little worried when I got this and I opened it, and this was the box. But it's just a box at the end of the day. So it came with, you got some watch tools there. You've got a card that has kind of the purchase information and the warranty information. And then you've got the watch itself. So let me take this out and we'll take a look at it. So yeah, there it is. It is really nice. It has a great weight to it. It's got a good heft to it. I was a little worried, a cheap watch feels cheap. And this does not feel cheap. This feels substantial. The bracelet, I will say, it's not bad. I don't want to say it's a bad bracelet, but it's definitely not the best bracelet. I may get a better, a hardier bracelet in the future. But, you can always tell with a really, really cheap bracelet, it's almost like you could press the steel and it'll bend. That's not the case here. It's very solid. It's just not like top tier or anything. It is nice that it does have the kind of quick release um, um, strap links, so you don't have to use a tool to change the size of the strap. So that's nice. But yeah, I am really, really happy with this. You know, the attention to detail, from the coloring of the face to the kind of lollipop style indices on the subdials, the border around the face itself, the bezel, again the screw down crown. So to change the time, you actually have to unscrew it, then pull it out, then change the time and push it back in and screw it back down. And then the just normal pushers for the chronograph tachometer function. The movement is great. I did a lot of research into that VK63 hybrid movement, and it's a very reliable movement. Again, the watch, the construction of the case itself and the watch itself, really nice. Bracelet, again, average, but not bad. I'll put some very kind of close-up pictures of the different details of this. I'm really, really happy with this watch. I actually wish it was a little bigger, but again, I'm more than happy that it is accurate to what this watch originally was. So I can't really complain. So let me give you some size comparisons. Okay, so for some size comparisons, we've got a Certina DS8 chronograph moon face that is 42 millimeters. We've got a Victorinox Maverick dual time that is, I think, 43 millimeters. That's a pretty chunky watch. And then you've got the 37 in the middle. So just be aware, if you're going to order this, know that it is just a smaller scale watch. It is a vintage style watch, and it's just kind of how it was made. It's not going to be a huge chunky watch. In fact, the only negative reviews I saw of this mod company were people who bought a watch similar to this, and they thought they got the wrong thing because they thought it was too small. They just didn't know the size of the watch. So I wanted to do this review because I saw a lot of written reviews of this watch and of this watch company online, but there weren't really any kind of video reviews or kind of experiential reviews. So I might do another in like a month, just to kind of detail my experience with the watch over time wearing it. But just wearing it around these last couple days, I love it the way it looks. I love the way it feels. Again, it doesn't feel cheap. It feels very, very quality. It's got a nice substantial heft to it for being such a diminutive watch. And yeah, I love this thing. I'm very, very happy that I bought it. It is absolutely worth the money, and I can highly recommend Verlion mods. It's verlionmods.com. The experience was really good. I will say, if you do want a watch that kind of mimics this, but maybe wears more like a modern or like larger scale watch, you can check out. There's a watch company here in Boston called Somerville Watch Company, and they do this. They do the regular Daytona, like Panda Daytona, and it's on a larger scale. I think it's like a 40 millimeter case size. So if you want something that kind of pays homage to this watch, but you don't really care that much about the 100% authenticity of every little detail, check out Somerville Watch Company. They do a really good job. But if you want something that is really meant to be a true tribute to an iconic watch without being like a Folex, then definitely check out Verlion Mods, verlionmods.com. And yeah, maybe I'll do another video in a month and tell you how I'm feeling. But so far, so good. Thanks.